Hello, everyone. I'm Jean-Claude Beyond Mystic, and welcome to today's inauguration broadcast. This is a live special report, and with me, of course, is the lovely Janine. You can find her, as always, at tarotbyjanine.com and also here on the Academy. Janine, welcome back. How are you?
Hi, Jean Claude. Hi, everybody. I'm doing good.
Janine, it's a crazy day. It appears that we're here, but at the same time, there's a lot of questions as to what the hell is really going on behind the scene. I just recorded, before we went live here today, a very special broadcast on devolution and continuity of government and whether or not it's actually over. I'm referring, of course, to the White House last night putting out an executive order revoking partially some of the items in the executive order 13961, which presumably had put the government in a devolution state or a continuity of government situation. Now, whether or not that's corrected, it appears to be a signal right now. Of course, Trump is coming into office today, no longer requiring devolution. We could be in the phase now of reconstitution. What do you make of that first, Janine? You and I had been reporting on this over the last number of years. We had talked about this military general explaining that he was there for a transfer to military power. You and I have reported, of course, that the Trump administration had not given the nuclear football to Biden. There were a lot of questions when Biden took office whether or not he was actually in the White House or in one of those stage sets in Hollywood. A lot of weird things have happened over the last 4 years, but it appears now with this executive order that there might be something to it, and we're about to see a resolution of sorts. Whether that's mainstream news, whether it's still going to be calmed in the way that it is now, is the main question. What's your first reaction seeing that, and how does that align with the reading you had in the last couple of days of this big information bomb coming out?
hmm I'm thinking that must be it. That must be it. I mean, there was a lot of great things Trump said yesterday in his speech but nothing out of the ordinary that we didn't know was coming.
Right.
Whereas what happened late last night, what you just did that video on, that piece of information, that's really interesting. I think that was the thing, and I think that'll grow throughout the week. Like we'll get more and more information on this throughout the week. I'm pretty excited about it.
I mean, there's so many things happening at the same time, competing for attention. It's hard to follow. Of course, Biden also, just before leaving office, has put out all of these massive preemptive pardons, including for Fauci, Milley, and many others. So that is also very interesting, and we are going to have to do a special report on that at some point. But going back to the statement of Speaker Johnson of the House Saturday night, he said in a video that he had been invited to a meeting where he realized, or at least he thought, that Biden was not actually in power. And again, it's mind blowing that the mainstream news is not all over this. But again, these are all the breadcrumbs that we're getting here in the last 24, 48 hours. It's absolutely crazy. Um, where do you think Trump is on all of this? Of course, in the inauguration, he mentioned a couple of times Washington. On the invitation, it says Washington City. People were reporting that. It appears that the DC has been dropped on Google Maps, depending from which distributed server you're looking at. So it appears there too that there's a that the de facto state of Washington DC is no more. What do you make of all of that, Janine? Where does that go leading into this week?
I think it's all heading in the same direction. I think they can't just do it all at once, but they've been leading up to this. This community's known these things for a really long time. I feel like they're moving slowly but surely to really outing the gigs up, the whole movie part of the theater part of the presentation that's been going on, the fake White House, the fake president. We've been talking about it for years. The whole community has, and I feel like they're going to out them here. I feel like this is the beginning of finally everybody knows.
Interestingly enough, hey, before we get into some of the inauguration broadcasts, let's go back to last night. Of course, there was the big rally. People were asking why this big rally before inauguration. It seemed to be a big old party. Of course, Kid Rock was performing at the beginning, and at the end here, we have a special performance by the actual dudes, the village people from the YMCA. Before we get to that, let's play some of the last words of Donald Trump here in his address to the crowd here. Oop, here you go.
From New York to Los Angeles, from Philadelphia to Phoenix, from Chicago to Miami, and from Houston to right here in Washington, D.C. Our country was won and built by generations of patriots who gave everything they had for our rights and for our freedom. They were farmers and soldiers, cowboys and factory workers, steel workers, coal miners, police officers, and pioneers who pushed onward, marched forward, and let no obstacle stand in their path. Nothing could get in their way. Together they laid down the railroads, raised up the skyscrapers, built the great highways, won 2 world wars, defeated fascism and communism, and launched American astronauts to the moon. It was hardworking patriots like you who built this country. And 75 days ago on November 5th, it was hardworking patriots like you who saved our country. You saved our country.
We'll come back to that in just a moment. I hear Vance, I think, is coming up to the podium. Let's see. Is he there yet? Let me bring up the volume here. Okay, we'll come back to that in just a moment. Let's go back to Trump here.
Now, after all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in American history. With your help, we will restore America's promise and we will rebuild the nation that we all love so much. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. We will never give in. We will never give up. We will never back down, and we will never, ever, ever, ever surrender. We will fight, 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 and we will win, win, win. And together, we will make America powerful again. We will make America wealthy again. We will make America healthy again. We will make America strong again. We will make America proud again. We will make America safe again. And we will make America great again. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. What a great victory for everybody. Thank you, America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
One hell of a party there, Janine. And I wasn't sure at first, but these are the village people. A little bit older, of course, but still up in. I saw an article from them a couple of days ago justifying the fact that they were playing live for the this party, and I agree. It's time to heal the country and come together. And I thought they did a good job. And of course, Trump is trolling the rest of the Democrats here with the gayest song ever probably produced, or most popular one. So, interestingly enough, what do you make of that choice, Janine?
Yeah, I think there could have been a few different reasons. I heard that Gitmo used to be a YMCA, so that's interesting. And a lot of people think maybe that's part of the troll.
Yeah.
Okay, and then of course, like he just finished taking, like basically, sounds like on day one he's going to take out all of the woke agendas around LGBTQ, et cetera, especially when concerns children, children's bodies, puberty blockers, all kinds of things. Not towards like adult choosing things like that. They can go do that themselves, but where it's government funded and they're going after the kids kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then they have those guys on. Yeah, I feel like it's definitely a troll.
Definitely a troll. We're live now. We're minutes away here. The ceremony is starting. Let me see. I'll bring up the volume here to see if there's anything interesting. I have a few more questions for you, but let's see.
We welcome Vice President Harris and Doug Emhoff, President Obama,
Can you hear okay,
President Clinton and Secretary Clinton, President Bush and Laura Bush, Vice President Pence, President Bush and Laura Bush, Vice President Pence, Vice President Quayle and Marilyn Quayle. The justice, all 9 of them I counted, in court are with us, all 9 of them I counted. And of course, the Trump and Vance.
We'll come back to that in a second. In the speech last night too, like Trump was pretty, I guess, severe and focused on his resolute power here moving forward. He said he was going to move very, very quickly with executive orders. He said that his staff was asking him to maybe lay those out in a couple of weeks, to not do them all at once. And he says, heck no, we don't have any time to waste. The house is on fire now. Let's put out these executive orders. He did reiterate that he was going to disclose the assassination records of JFK, Martin Luther King. He talked about, of course, fixing the border wall and setting up an emergency executive order on the border, fixing the economy, making people rich again, the nation wealthy again. So it's everything everybody wants to hear, for sure. But at the same time, we're not hearing anything in that talks about justice. If there was, in fact, an outside force taking over the country in the last 4 years, he didn't really touch that last night. He didn't talk about the election results of 2020. So a lot of people are still asking, well, what's going to happen on that front? Are we going to go back to situation normal, Janine? Or are we going to also have justice here moving forward as Trump starts to rebuild and repair everything that was broken here in the last 4 years? Let's do a quick poll on that here as we wait for the main people to come on the screen.
Look at that. That just popped out as I was shuffling. That's an ace of swords. Okay, so let's see if that comes up into the reading.
Yeah, people are saying because he will address it today. Yeah, that's the question. We'll see in those 100 or so executive orders how far and deep it goes. And it'll be interesting also to see whether or not we're going to understand that the country was, in fact, in a state of devolution and continuity of government for the last 4 years, as many researchers were suggesting. At the very least, we can be intellectually honest and say there were a lot of breadcrumbs leading that way, even though we weren't being told by officialdom here. So let me see if I can bring up your cards a little bit higher. There you go.
So they've been waiting on that one. That might have been the sword that dropped on the floor while I was laying these out. I'm going to have to turn them sideways. Right? There's a sword underneath this guy, which means there's still something to be revealed. So certainly they're going to reveal a lot of things, but they're going to do it in a fashion that it looks like politically what they think is like the best way to do it. Okay, so I feel like some of that'll be left. I don't think it'll be the first day. I feel like they're going to focus on maybe things dealing with the finances, things dealing with like government spending, things dealing with maybe new money systems. I don't know, like somehow that sun card often comes up when it talks about new ways of creating maybe a backed system, a gold or silver or both backed system. And then here we've got this 7 of Pentacles here. So they're going to take their time with that. I feel like we'll have to wait a bit on that one. Like the full justice. They're going to play out the theater of politics for a tiny bit longer here.
Okay.
We should probably pull 2 more to find out how long are we going to have to put up with. I mean, even the fact that they're having the inauguration on the 20th.
Right.
I mean, that tells me they went ahead and they're going to do the old system that's bankrupt sort of inauguration date.
I saw also the IRS chief resign earlier today too, suggesting there might be big moves there at the Internal Revenue Agency. Of course, Trump announced that he was going to be creating the External Revenue Service here on day one. So lots of movement there, of course, on the economy. Can you do okay, so do those clarifiers. How did you ask the question for the clarifiers, Jane?
I'm asking around timing on when can we first see some justice.
Okay.
Okay, so this is a May card. This could be like Pentacles, and so our next Earth sign month, May.
May. Okay, that's still a
Okay,
while back. Yeah.
or just before, so April 21st to May 21st.
Huh.
That's the
Wow.
astrological time of May. And then we've got the Page of Swords. I feel like they'll start tackling that by then. But they're going to put finances first. Maybe even the trafficking situation might come too with that sun card there.
For sure. And the border situation, I think, is probably critical also for them. Can you also do a clarifier? There were a lot of rumors that perhaps some of this information, what we are hoping to see as confirmation of all of these conspiracies for the last 4 years, including devolution, continuity of government, and so forth, that maybe Tucker Carlson might be that guy to spearhead some of that information coming out here in the next couple of days and weeks. Is he set here with a big slide deck on behalf of the government moving forward?
There's the ace.
Yeah.
So I feel like maybe the government won't tackle it till May, but this could be sooner with that ace. The
Mhm.
whole time it could be all being outed by others. That would make sense.
Wow. Fascinating. Did you notice what Melania Trump is wearing today?
No, I hadn't seen her yet.
You can see under black there too. There was ceremony earlier today, so she has this kind of black and white suit with this black and white chapeau or hat. A lot of people were suggesting there's a connotation there with V from Vendetta. I remember seeing that movie a long time ago, but I don't associate the image. If you guys are with me in the Discord chat, maybe that's the best way to, because there's a lot of windows open here today. If you guys want to send me a picture where you're comparing whatever she's wearing now with the symbology in V for Vendetta, I'd love to see it. But yeah, this was her outfit here as she was getting into some of these armored vehicles.
Wow, she looks like Zorro.
Kind of that too. That was my feeling, but I didn't get the V stuff. So I'm curious what that looks like, guys. Send me a picture. Okay, so there's quite a few there in the Discord chat. Maybe put those side by side in comparison. That would be very helpful. Thank you. Wow. Okay. So one of the big questions also is regarding the ability of this mainstream news to continue to persist. If this stuff is actually coming out in a big way, are we at the critical point here, either of the death of the mainstream news or the necessity for its rebirth? Just in the last couple of days, some of the information coming out, a lot of people are suggesting, whoa, they're waking up. And as Jay Widener said in the show yesterday, they're about to hit the anger phase, right? So right now they're kind of shocked. They're in the fetal position. They don't really understand their worldview. Everything they were told leading up to this election was absolutely false. But they're not at the anger stage yet, but they're just about there. So what does that mean for the mainstream news here moving forward? How can they survive this bump coming up here?
So when you say they at the anger stage, you're talking about the general population.
The normies, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, that can be an angry, intense card. This card wants a war, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, or is a warrior.
Mm-hmm.
And now here, that's the general population. So we're talking about them now, because this will often come up as my good military, but now it's coming up as the mood of the general population. And they want justice, you bet. That's the justice card. They've realized, yeah. And not all of them, obviously, but a lot more than even 2 weeks ago, I think.
Huh.
Like
Yeah.
it's starting to pick up.
And okay, I'll let you finish that last row there.
Okay, so the near future, we've got the Empress, so that's interesting. The Empress, let me think about that. Queen of Swords, so she demands justice. And the Two of Cups. I wonder if Melania is going to be actually a big part of delivering some of this information. So you were talking about what's that fellow's name? I always say his name backwards.
Tucker Carlson. Tucker
You're
Carlson.
talking
Yeah.
about Tucker. I feel like Melania might also, because we've got this powerful woman also going to come out with some things. I don't know why that would show up in what we're talking. The other way you could read it is a powerful woman. Wait a minute. A powerful woman in the media. Candace Owens.
Could be.
Candace Owens. And
Or
she is.
Megyn Kelly. They're rumored
Yep.
to have a new show coming up together. Yeah.
Yep. And this is about beauty, but also about motherhood.
Yeah.
So, like a woman like that. And that those people are, I feel like he's going to have a lot of help bringing this out. But yeah, people are going to be really angry.
For sure. Now, people in the chat are asking, is this the real Trump we're looking at today? It appeared that it was him yesterday during that big party, the rally. Is it him today here at this event? Do you want to do cards on that?
It was, if it was a double, it was the one that looks exactly like him.
Yesterday, you mean?
Yeah, if
Yeah.
it was a double.
Yeah.
That guy looked just like him.
Meg Moonbeam is going to be joining us very shortly. I think she's in a reading right now, one-on-one. She did a show earlier this morning, and I think she'll be joining us here in about 10 or 15 minutes, guys. So stay tuned for that. We're going to be looking at some of the astrology for today as well, and how all of this is lining up with this Trump-Pluto Kazemi situation here behind the scenes in terms of energies.
Well, we got two major arcanas, the Star. But this is interesting because this can be a double, this card, and it was the first one down. So maybe they're not feeling safe enough to put, think about it. There's a lot of interesting people in that room, right? If those people are really who they appear to be, there's some heavy hitter enemies of his. So this is like, I get a no. But he's safely watching from a close distance. And actually, that guy looks different than the guy last night on stage.
Okay, fascinating.
Yeah.
And they just did a close-up of Melania there, and her outfit actually looks like navy blue. It might be dark navy blue, but I don't think it's black like V from Vendetta. Who knows? But at any rate, if you have more comparisons, guys, in terms of pictures, I see some of. Yeah, I don't see the correlation just yet, but maybe I'm missing something. JC, the reading from Isabella said Trump's wife had a huge role to play. Yeah, that's possible.
Mm-hmm.
The thing about the threats. So let's go there. So Trump announced the other day that he was asking the Secret Service to move this indoors. They were canceling the parade. Part of the cover was the cold weather snap that we're facing right now. It was minus 30 last night here. And I think this vortex of cold is coming through the United States as well. But there's also the idea that there still perhaps might be either one of two things. The radioactive devices or suitcase nukes they were presumably looking for in New Jersey with all the drones, and or perhaps some lone gunman or organized assassination attempt here against Mr. Trump himself. Can we pull on that? Have we passed that threat level, or is that still in the cards as we're watching live now today at noon Eastern on January 20th? Janine.
I, James David Vance, do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
against all enemies, foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation freely
that I take this obligation freely
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
and that I will well and faithfully discharge
the duties of the office
the duties of the office
on which I am about to enter.
on which I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. Vice President.
All right, first one down. Do you want to look at the cards quickly there before we
Yeah.
see Trump? Okay, go ahead.
I feel like we're not out of the woods yet.
Aha.
We're not out of the woods. And even around 3 o'clock, there could be an incident. I don't think it hurts anybody, like certainly nobody important here, but you will hear about something and that might have happened or in retrospect happened around 3. That's just what the cards are suggesting here. So just in case that happens, we'll keep that in mind. There's safety here. So he definitely has a double. It looks like that's a double, and it looks like he's staying safe because of some really big unknown sort of threat.
Wow.
And they heard about it. They heard about it. Like they got info on it.
And repeat
Okay.
after me.
Let's cut to the
I,
screen here.
Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
I, Donald John Trump, do solemnly swear
that I will faithfully execute
that I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States
the office of President of the United States
and will, to the best of my ability,
and will, to the best of my ability,
preserve, protect, and defend
preserve, protect, and defend
the Constitution of the United States.
the Constitution of the United States.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations, Mr. President.
Been a long 4 years, Janine, in the waiting.
Mhm.
So I'll monitor this here moving forward. But Cliff High also sent out something yesterday, and there was a blip on his data for today, January 20th. He said either in the afternoon or in the evening, and he talked about this earthquake of sorts. Now, whether that was a physical earth-driven earthquake, tectonic plates moving type of thing, or whether it's an earthquake in terms of ground-shattering news coming out, he was seeing a blip here for January 20th. Do you want to finish that read very quickly if there's anything more? And if not, let's look at what this potential earthquake might be and why he's still not out of the woods, so to speak, here.
Well, I don't think he physically comes out of it harmed. Okay, because there's the strength card and he's safe and somebody's enacting him on purpose and it looks like it's because of the threat.
Because of the threat.
Yeah. So what do we want to look at? What kind of a thing that I was getting could happen still today? Let's have a look.
I'd like to ask specifically about this earthquake. Let me just quickly cut the screen here to show you guys. You can take a screenshot of this, but maybe an earthquake being generated. He's talking about here on January 20th, the night of, the day or the night of. And he says 21st to the 30th of January is a big squabble. All kinds of terrible language coming out here. So what can we see around this earthquake situation, Janine? Is it a physical one? Is it an information one? Is it both? What's going on?
We got an earthquake situation. Certainly an earthquake of emotions. And the other way you could read that is under the ocean or water.
Okay.
Okay, does certainly something's brewing here. We got this yes and could cause disruption. I mean, could be emotional disruption. So that could be about information or some situation, but it could also literally be literal, right? Because this can be revelations, as in you have a revelation, you find out something and it's traumatizing.
Yeah.
And it takes down all your belief systems in one go. That's one way you could read the card. It's certainly going to affect people emotionally, but it could literally be an earthquake too. And here we've got that Page of Wands, maybe some fire activity as well, stemming from where the earthquake is and or around where the earthquake is,
Wow.
if there's physically an earthquake. So then now Temperance and the Ace, it's leaning more towards information rather than physical. It's leaning a little more towards information.
Just to be clear, somebody's saying, hey, Cliff would have said it if it was just emotional. No, he did provide the caveat, if you watched the show last night, that he hadn't run or had time to run the cross links to it. So this was just very early off the press type of thing. Some of the headlines he was seeing, but it wasn't, was it emotional, visceral reaction of the body we're having or an actual physical thing? It was just too early to say in the processing. So, because I asked him, I said, hey, do you have any information we could share tomorrow to the audience and during the Wacky Woo show? And he ran a very quick report for me with the caveat, of course, that the crosslinks weren't done. So he didn't have all of the data and the nuances. This is why we're asking Janine. Go ahead, Janine.
I think it's a woman reporter or a woman announces something or comes out with something in the general population, like so puts it on the news or something, or reaches a lot of population. I feel like it's information.
Could it have something to do with emergency broadcasts going off? Do you want to do clarifiers on that? That's a great question from JJD.
No, that
No?
card would be a no.
Okay.
I mean, it could lead to disruptions. Remember, we got that there'd be disruptions around what happens this week that could set back getting money out of the bank, maybe like things could close or there could be disruptions in various parts of the world. Certainly in the US, various cities, that card could talk about that, where some areas might be disrupted in their services, ability to go to the grocery store, ability to move around.
Right.
But it doesn't look like quite what that person would, not as bad as the EBS. That would be a lockdown card. We're not getting that.
People are saying, let me see if I can bring this up for you guys here. Many things, moving parts. JC, earthquakes have been happening along California and beyond for weeks, more intense last week, also different feeling to them. Can you look at East Coast versus West Coast? Maybe like what type of geographic location are we looking at? Is this a DC thing? Are they setting off the deep underground tunnels under DC? What's going on?
So my first down is going to be East Coast. My second one's going to be West Coast there, as sort of trying to find out where in the US this could be happening.
Okay.
Isn't that interesting? Those two gals again.
Wow.
6. Or this can just be about information, really direct and she's not very pleasant in how she puts it out there.
Here's to you, the 45th and the 47th President of the United States of America, Donald J. Trump.
Let's come back to the reading of the start. Now we'll see if we have the same campaign rhetoric as last night, or if he changes his tune here today. Now officially sworn in as the 47th President of the United States.
Thank you very, very much.
And they didn't use the word republic.
Vice President Vance, Speaker Johnson, Senator Thune, Chief Justice Roberts, Justices of the United States Supreme Court, President Clinton, President Bush, President Obama, President Biden, Vice President Harris, and my fellow citizens. The golden age of America begins right now. From this day forward, our country will flourish and be respected again all over the world. We will be the envy of every nation, and we will not allow ourselves to be taken advantage of any longer. During every single day of the Trump administration, I will very simply put America first. Our sovereignty will be reclaimed. Our safety will be restored. The scales of justice will be rebalanced. The
Interesting.
vicious, violent, and unfair weaponization of the Justice Department and our government will end.
That's big.
And our top priority will be to create a nation that is proud, prosperous, and free. America will soon be greater, stronger, and far more exceptional than ever before. I return to the presidency confident and optimistic that we are at the start of a thrilling new era of national success. A tide of change is sweeping the country. Sunlight is pouring over the entire world. And America has the chance to seize this opportunity like never before. But first, we must be honest about the challenges we face. While they are plentiful, they will be annihilated by this great momentum that the world is now witnessing in the United States of America. As we gather today, our government confronts a crisis of trust. For many years, a radical and corrupt establishment has extracted power and wealth from our citizens while the pillars of our society lay broken and seemingly in complete disrepair. We now have a government that cannot manage even a simple crisis at home, while at the same time stumbling into a continuing catalog of catastrophic events abroad. It fails to protect our magnificent, law-abiding American citizens, but provides sanctuary and protection for dangerous criminals, many from prisons and mental institutions that have illegally entered our country from all over the world. We have a government that has given unlimited funding to the defense of foreign borders, but refuses to defend American borders or, more importantly, its own people. Our country can no longer deliver basic services in times of emergency, as recently shown by the wonderful people of North Carolina, been treated so badly. And other states who are still suffering from a hurricane that took place many months ago. Or more recently, Los Angeles, where we're watching fires still tragically burn from weeks ago without even a token of defense. They're raging through the houses and communities, even affecting some of the wealthiest and most powerful individuals in our country, some of whom are sitting here right now. They don't have a home any longer. That's interesting. But we can't let this happen. Everyone is unable to do anything about it. That's going to change. We have a public health system that does not deliver in times of disaster, yet more money is spent on it than any country anywhere in the world. And we have an education system that teaches our children to be ashamed of themselves in many cases, to hate our country despite the love that we try so desperately to provide to them. All of this will change starting today, and it will change very quickly. My recent election is a mandate to completely and totally reverse a horrible betrayal and all of these many betrayals that have taken place, and to give the people back their faith, their wealth, their democracy, and indeed their freedom. From this moment on, America's decline is over. Our liberties and our nation's glorious destiny will no longer be denied, and we will immediately restore the integrity, competency, and loyalty of America's government. Over the past 8 years, I have been tested and challenged more than any president in our 250-year history, and I've learned a lot along the way. The journey to reclaim our republic has not been an easy one, that I can tell you. Those who wish to stop our cause have tried to take my freedom and indeed to take my life. Just a few months ago in a beautiful Pennsylvania field, an assassin's bullet ripped through my ear. But I felt then, and believe even more so now, that my life was saved for a reason. I was saved by God to make America great again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. That is why each day under our administration of American patriots, we will be working to meet every crisis with dignity and power and strength. We will move with purpose and speed to bring back hope, prosperity, safety, and peace for citizens of every race, religion, color, and creed. For American citizens, January 20th, 2025 is Liberation Day. It is my hope that our recent presidential election will be remembered as the greatest and most consequential election in the history of our country. As our victory showed, the entire nation is rapidly unifying behind our agenda with dramatic increases in support from virtually every element of our society, young and old, men and women, African Americans, Hispanic Americans, Asian Americans, urban, suburban, rural. And very importantly, we had a powerful win in all 7 swing states. And the popular vote, we won by millions of people. To the Black and Hispanic communities, I want to thank you for the tremendous outpouring of love and trust that you have shown me with your vote. We set records, and I will not forget it. I've heard your voices in the campaign, and I look forward to working with you in the years to come. Today is Martin Luther King Day, and his honor, this will be a great honor, but in his honor, we will strive together to make his dream a reality. We will make his dream come true. Thank you. Thank you. National unity is now returning to America, and confidence and pride is soaring like never before. In everything we do, my administration will be inspired by a strong pursuit of excellence and unrelenting success. We will not forget our country. We will not forget our Constitution, and we will not forget our God. Can't do that. Today, I will sign a series of historic executive orders. With these actions, we will begin the complete restoration of America and the revolution of common sense. It's all about common sense. First, I will declare a national emergency at our southern border. All illegal entry will immediately be halted, and we will begin the process of returning millions and millions of criminal aliens back to the places from which they came. We will reinstate my Remain in Mexico policy. I will end the practice of catch and release. And I will send troops to the southern border to repel the disastrous invasion of our country. Under the orders I signed today, we will also be designating the cartels as foreign terrorist organizations. And by invoking the Alien Enemies Act of 1798, I will direct our government to use the full and immense power of federal and state law enforcement to eliminate the presence of all foreign gangs and criminal networks, bringing devastating crime to U.S. soil, including our cities and inner cities. As Commander-in-Chief, I have no higher responsibility than to defend our country from threats and invasions, and that is exactly what I am going to do. We will do it at a level that nobody's ever seen before. Next, I will direct all members of my cabinet to marshal the vast powers at their disposal to defeat what was record inflation and rapidly bring down costs and prices. The inflation crisis was caused by massive overspending and escalating energy prices, and that is why today I will also declare a national energy emergency. We will drill, baby, drill. America will be a manufacturing nation once again, and we have something that no other manufacturing nation will ever have, the largest amount of oil and gas of any country on earth, and we are going to use it. We will bring prices down, fill our strategic reserves up again, right to the top, and export American energy all over the world. We will be a rich nation again, and it is that liquid gold under our feet that will help to do it. With my actions today, we will end the Green New Deal and we will revoke the electric vehicle mandate, saving our auto industry and keeping my sacred pledge to our great American auto workers. In other words, you'll be able to buy the car of your choice. We will build automobiles in America again at a rate that nobody could have dreamt possible just a few years ago. And thank you to the auto workers of our nation for your inspiring vote of confidence. We did tremendously with their vote. I will immediately begin the overhaul of our trade system to protect American workers and families. Instead of taxing our citizens to enrich other countries, we will tariff and tax foreign countries to enrich our citizens. For this purpose, we are establishing the External Revenue Service to collect all tariffs, duties, and revenues. It will be massive amounts of money pouring into our treasury, coming from foreign sources. The American dream will soon be back and thriving like never before to restore competence and effectiveness to our federal government. My administration will establish the brand new Department of Government Efficiency. After years and years of illegal and unconstitutional federal efforts to restrict free expression, I will also sign an executive order to immediately stop all government censorship and bring back free speech to America. Never again will the immense power of the state be weaponized to persecute political opponents, something I know something about. We will not allow that to happen. It will not happen again. Under my leadership, we will restore fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law. And we are going to bring law and order back to our cities. This week, I will also end the government policy of trying to socially engineer race and gender into every aspect of public and private life. We will forge a society that is colorblind and merit-based. As of today, it will henceforth be the official policy of the United States government that there are only two genders, male and female. This week, I will reinstate any service members who were unjustly expelled from our military for objecting to the COVID vaccine mandate with full back pay.
Wow.
And I will sign an order to stop our warriors from being subjected to radical political theories and social experiments while on duty. It's going to end immediately. Our armed forces will be freed to focus on their sole mission, defeating America's enemies. Like in 2017, we will again build the strongest military the world has ever seen. We will measure our success not only by the battles we win, but also by the wars that we end, and perhaps most importantly, the wars we never get into. My proudest legacy will be that of a peacemaker and unifier. That's what I want to be, a peacemaker and a unifier. I'm pleased to say that as of yesterday, one day before I assumed office, the hostages in the Middle East are coming back home to their families. Thank you. America will reclaim its rightful place as the greatest, most powerful, most respected nation on earth, inspiring the awe and admiration of the entire world. A short time from now, we are going to be changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, and we will restore the name of a great president, William McKinley, to Mount McKinley, where it should be and where it belongs. President McKinley made our country very rich through tariffs and through talent. He was a natural businessman and gave Teddy Roosevelt the money for many of the great things he did, including the Panama Canal, which has foolishly been given to the country of Panama after and lost 38,000 lives in the building of the Panama Canal. We have been treated very badly from this foolish gift that should have never been made, and Panama's promise to us has been broken. The purpose of our deal and the spirit of our treaty has been totally violated. American ships are being severely overcharged and not treated fairly in any overcharged, are being severely overcharged and not treated fairly in any way, shape, or form. Give it to China, we gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back. Above all, China is operating the Panama Canal, and we didn't give it to China, we gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back.
There was a bit of a glitch there in the live stream, but I think we're back. Okay.
It is time for us to once again act with courage, vigor, and the vitality of history's greatest civilization. So as we liberate our nation, we will lead it to new heights. As we liberate our nation, we will lead it to new heights of victory and success. We will not be deterred. Together we will end the chronic disease epidemic and keep our children safe, healthy, and self-wealth expands our territory. One that increases our wealth, expands our territory, builds our cities, raises our expectations, and carries our flag into new and beautiful horizons. And we will pursue our manifest destiny into the stars, launching American astronauts to plant the stars and stripes on the planet Mars.
That's interesting. Wow. There's Elon.
Ambition is the lifeblood of a great nation. And right now, our nation is more ambitious than any other. There's no nation like our nation. Americans are explorers, builders, innovators, entrepreneurs, and pioneers. The spirit of the frontier is written into our hearts. The call of the next great adventure resounds from within our souls. Our American ancestors turned a small group of colonies on the edge of a vast continent into a mighty republic of the most extraordinary citizens on earth. No one comes close. Americans pushed thousands of miles through a rugged land of untamed wilderness. They crossed deserts, scaled mountains, braved untold dangers, won the Wild West, ended slavery, rescued millions from tyranny. lifted billions from poverty, harnessed electricity, split the atom, launched mankind into the heavens, and put the universe of human knowledge into the palm of the human hand. If we work together, there is nothing we cannot do and no dream we cannot achieve. Many people thought it was impossible for me to stage such a historic political comeback. But as you see today, here I am. The American people have spoken. I stand before you now as proof that you should never believe that something is impossible to do. In America, the impossible is what we do best. From New York to Los Angeles, from Philadelphia to Phoenix, from Chicago to Miami, from Houston to right here in Washington, D.C., our country was forged and built by the generations of patriots who gave everything they had for our rights and for our freedom. They were farmers and soldiers, cowboys and factory workers, steel workers and coal miners, police officers and pioneers who pushed onward, marched forward, and let no obstacle defeat their spirit or their pride. Together they laid down the railroads, raised up the skyscrapers, built great highways, won 2 world wars, defeated fascism and communism, and triumphed over every single challenge that they faced. After all we have been through together, we stand on the verge of the 4 greatest years in American history. With your help, we will restore America's promise, and we will rebuild the nation that we love, and we love it so much. We are one people, one family, and one glorious nation under God. So to every parent who dreams for their child, and every child who dreams for their future, I am with you, I will fight for you, and I will win for you. They're going to win like never before. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. In recent years, our nation has suffered greatly, but we are going to bring it back and make it great again, greater than ever before. We will be a nation like no other, full of compassion, courage, and exceptionalism. Our power will stop all wars and bring a new spirit of unity to a world that has been angry, violent, and totally unpredictable. America will be respected again and admired again, including by people of religion, faith, and goodwill. We will be prosperous. We will be proud. We will be strong, and we will win like never before. We will not be conquered. We will not be intimidated. We will not be broken, and we will not fail. From this day on, the United States of America will be a free, sovereign, and independent nation. We will stand bravely. We will live proudly. We will dream boldly, and nothing will stand in our way because we are Americans. The future is ours, and our golden age has just begun. Thank you. God bless America. Thank you all. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, performing America the Beautiful, please welcome the Armed Forces Chorus and Carrie Underwood.
Wow.
Carrie Underwood.
think Biden wants to sniff her hair. He's looking at her crooked. Hold on. We're still live, but there's no sound coming from the feed here. Hold on. 12 million views live here on Trump's Twitter feed. There you go. Still can't hear it. Let me see if I can go to another feed. Maybe there's something wrong. No, there's no sound on that feed either.
He's definitely wanting to sniff her hair.
Still no sound here. Not sure what's happening, guys. Hold on. How about this one? No, still no sound. Biden's like, yeah, man, she smells good. The hell's happening? There's no sound. Hold on. Let me see if we can get the third spot here. So we've lost the sound feed everywhere. CBC Live, no sound. Right Side Broadcasting also. I hear sound, but there's no music coming up. So they're waiting for something. Okay. They're probably setting up the audio for Carrie Underwood here. There you go. Can you hear that? Okay.
Skies for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesty above the fruited plain. America, God shed his grace on thee and crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
All right, we'll see what's next here.
Ladies and gentlemen, Senator Fisher will now introduce the benediction clergy.
Okay. Janine, first things first, before we go too far, do you remember what the question was on the poll on the screen? Let's finish that read. And then I have quite a few comments from the live chat I want to bring up. And of course, I want to introduce our lovely Meg Moonbeam, who's just joined us as well. So finish the card poll there while we remember what that was about. Janine,
so we put this one down as East Coast, this one down as the West. So how I'm reading it is information comes out from maybe somebody in the media on the East Coast, and the West Coast it physically could have an earthquake. Okay, but this card says it won't be nearly as bad as, so they might hype it up to be, and they might be like planning it to be worse than it is, but this card says it's not as bad as it's being talked about. Okay. So I felt like that was an Earth card. She's Mother Earth. So that Mother Earth in the West, in the East is where the information comes out of. So maybe somebody on the East side of the US would be considered the East side is who outs some information. So there's both, I think. I think we're having both. I think we're having physical earthquakes or an earthquake in the West and information coming out for everybody. And that'll be really emotional. Well, both of those things could be really emotional, but these cards are indicating that it's like it's known. So I feel like the earthquake is known and there could be things in place to take it down. Like a lot of these things have been, it feels like a lot of these things have been taken down in scale from what their original plan was.
Okay. Okay. Thank you for that, Janine. Folks, please join me in welcoming, of course, the amazing Meg Moonbeam on the screen there with a lovely red hat. Meg, how are you today? Happy Inauguration Day.
Thank you. Happy Inauguration Day, everybody. And thank you both for having me. I'm feeling all kinds of feelings today. I think I'm going to have a really good cry later today when it's all kind of integrated. Wow, that speech was amazing. I didn't hear the first part of it, but what I heard was wild so far.
It seems to be everything we've been wanting to hear, and lots of comments in the chat, lots of emotions. I'm going through the same emotions with you. It's been a long haul, and for me, part of the speech that hit me the most was the executive order here to remove the censorship apparatus, because of course we cannot have a healthy country, we cannot have an economically strong country when censorship is in place. That creates all of this dysfunction in our society. So that to me is big. Of course, we were deleted a couple of times on YouTube, so was Janine on Patreon and all that. So that seems to be very encouraging to me as a stepping stone. Now, for the most part, his speech is very similar to what he had yesterday at the rally on the 19th. And he hasn't talked about, in this particular speech, removing taxes, although he kind of hinted at it yesterday. Today, people are noticing in the chat that he didn't mention that. He did mention the creation of the External Revenue Service, whereby he'd be taxing other countries to bring wealth to Americans. But he didn't also say that he was abolishing the IRS. Now, we see the IRS chief just resigned earlier today before the inauguration, so that could be speaking volumes as to the changes to come. Janine, you want to chime in there on the tax front here before we go too far?
Yeah, but he did say that we were going to stop sending our tax dollars outside the country.
Yeah.
And if you look at what the IRA is it IRA or IRS? IRS. The money doesn't stay in the U.S. This is one of the things was uncovered in the last, well, lots of people probably knew this too, but I didn't know it till the last 5 years. It actually goes to the royal family.
The City of London, the royal families, and whoever's above them. So yeah, there's a lot of disclosure. That's a whole rabbit hole, but that's very interesting. Stopping the bleeding basically is what he's saying. So that's very interesting. Now, part of the emotions from everybody in the chat has something to do with the fact that we were standing strong, shoulder to shoulder, throughout these last number of years, where it was increasingly difficult to do so. And every step of the way, we had indications that perhaps we could see light at the end of the tunnel, but none of us expected to be in that situation of unresolved stress for 4 or 5 years now. It appears that today we can have a collective sigh of relief that at the very least here, we're reversing the machine on this totalitarianism and this crazy, wacky world we found ourselves in the last number of years. So I think that's very encouraging. But I'm reading the comments from the audience members. Let me bring this up for this quick segment. We'll go back to the live feed here if there's something important. We are family here. Couldn't have made it this far in good shape without you all. Thank you, JC, Janine, Meg, and the Beyond Mystic team. Many comments like that. JC and Janine, you've pulled me through some dark days. We had a lot of those in the last number of years. Thank you, JC, Janine. I couldn't have made it without you, beautiful individuals. And those types of comments are the ones that really made it possible for Janine, for Meg, for myself, and the rest of the Beyond Mystic team to also get through this, because we were very much going through this together. And I have to say, my heart is filled with joy and warmth reading those comments. But listening to Trump's speech here today too also encourages me that we might finally actually be here, right? And that's I want to knock on wood to say, okay, hopefully we're here. We've just had the inauguration. We're going to see very shortly here the list of executive orders that Trump is set to put forward here today. That's going to be very interesting. But your sentiment on all of that, how are you feeling about this? Let me ask you first, Meg, the sentiment of maybe letting your shoulders down for the first time in a number of years, how that feels, and how does it feel to be in this community fighting this fight together for way longer than we originally anticipated, Meg.
Yeah, it makes me feel emotional and I'm going to start crying. I'm sorry, you guys. Yeah, I've just felt numb for a really long time, but also really hopeful. And I'm starting to cry right now, but there's still a numbness of, okay, I want to see those executive orders. Like I'm excited to see those executive orders and these things actually start, because it has been a really long fight. And to go from, are we going to get put in like camps? What's going to go on? Am I going to get separated from my loved ones? Will I never be able to have free speech again? To vindication. I mean, that was like humiliating for the dark arts group, that whole situation right there. That whole speech, that was huge humiliation, huge FU, huge outing who you really are. So yeah, I'm happy. I'm just kind of like a lot of us, I think, traumatized from the last 5 years. I'm excited for the work to those executive orders to go through, and it's like an ending, but also a beginning of we've still got a lot of work to do. We've still got a lot of people we need to bring on board to what's really going on. There's still, this war is still ongoing, but it's definitely a relief that I think needs time to settle in.
And that sentiment that our audience recognize not being able to have made it through these last number of years without us, how does that affect you personally, vice versa, where you've had that same strength and emotional fortitude provided to you by the one-on-one bookings? What were those messages like over the last 4 years, and how did that help you go through these last number of years, Meg?
Yeah, the same messages. I hear it all the time. People saying, especially you, JC and Janine, both of you being in this for so long, speaking out publicly to a very huge audience. I hear all the time, people say that they would not have been able to get through it without you guys. So that's, it's comfort to us, you guys, and it helps us, because this isn't easy work to keep doing it, and we're not crazy, because I don't know about everybody else, but I definitely have family and some friends that literally think I'm totally crazy, and they don't take what I do seriously. So to get that support from you guys means everything, absolutely everything, because we can't do everything alone. We're a community.
Well said, Meg. I appreciate that. Janine, same question to you. Let me bring it up on the big screen here too. Hopefully you don't have too many tears on your face. Also, tears of joy, tears of emotion here.
I'm hiding behind my glasses.
Right. Me too.
Yeah.
How do you feel about all of this, being in this family, having fought this long, never believing that perhaps this fight was going to last so long, and seeing perhaps today the reprieve that we were all so deserving, but waiting for? How do you feel today with all of this, Janine?
Well, like you said, like a bit of a shoulder drop, and like we could maybe take half a day to relax, but I'm ready to keep we got a long way to go. It felt like he just got his toe in the door, and of the deep state dark cult like mechanism, and a lot of them might have been cleaned out in the background, but I felt like what he said today was the toe in the door to the normies and their awareness, right? So he's just going to come in, and it'll be probably an onslaught of over the next few months, where I feel like daily, hourly, more and more information download. So I feel like maybe they won't do it all in one big trout slap. I feel like it'll be, now it looks like the plan seems to be that they get in the door and start enlightening that way. And I feel like that might, unless something else happens where it has to all come out at once, I feel like that looks like the plan. And it was a great start today. I felt really good. He said enough for me to feel like we've been right about a lot of things. I don't feel like we're deluded after what he was been saying for the last, he said republic 3 times, by the way, in that speech. But I feel like he's going to keep working it because people need it that way. You can't slap them in the face, unfortunately, that many people, because it will ruin them.
Right. We can't all be smack-rolled at this time. Let me go back to the live feed here. There's a singer on the stage also. Let me see if we can get that. Hold on. There you go.
but so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose but stars and bright stars through the perilous fight of the ramparts wayward were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket eagle, heaven's blasting in earth, gave proof to the night that the plague was still there. Crusaders had fought pagan, and fled. On the land and the free, and the hope of
Wow. That brings a lot of emotions.
Ladies
Mhm.
and please be seated.
It looked like he was the only one going like this.
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, please remain at your seats while the president and official party depart the platform.
While we will watch that, I want to share also your echo and the sentiment of being very grateful for the audience. Specifically, I have to thank the IAP members who helped us out of the darkness when we were deleted on that third time from YouTube and Patreon. You made it possible for us to continue doing what we were doing, but not just that, possible for us to continue to grow, recruit more people, train more people, and bring more and more information to the network. So to all of you Insider Access Pass members on Beyond Mystic, my heart goes out to you. Thank you. You're a big part of why we're still here on the air, and you're a big part of why people are saying how Beyond Mystic was a guiding light for them here in the last 4 years, and encourage people who are watching the show now who might be new to Beyond Mystic to say a big thank you again to the Insider Access Pass members. I have to say thank you to Sarah also for helping me over the last number of years, reconciling what we were seeing on mainstream news, purportedly being our reality, versus what Janine, Meg, and the rest of our crew were seeing as reality, and the cognitive dissonance that created in me, as I'm sure it was for you personally and collectively. It was also very difficult, and we needed that port in a storm, so to speak, here, and that's so very important. So a big thank you to Sarah for that. And a big thank you to the Beyond Mystic team also, who were there time and time again in the ups and downs over the last number of years. And we've had so many hits knocking us off our game and knocking us off our horses, but we continued getting back on. And as Meg was saying, it feels like vindication today. It's not clear, I think, to the mainstream news and perhaps to our normie friends just yet, but it's becoming clearer and clearer by the day. As we see Trump's speech today, as we saw the speech yesterday at his rally, it's very hard to argue with the things that he's bringing forward. And even those normies are like, wow, I thought I was supposed to hate this guy, but they can't come to that conclusion today. And they're having a lot of issues trying to consolidate that moving forward. And my heart goes out to them and to all of my friends who are going through that same process that perhaps the Beyond Mystic team was going through for the last number of years. They are now having to do that in a very short time frame. So my heart goes out to all of you. Now, there's a couple of things we need to decode. First of all, any supplemental on that? Let me ask you, Meg, too, and then Janine, any supplemental on what I just said, and just generally speaking, this vibe here of moving forward and how we need to stay together.
Well, that's the Aquarian frequency, the age of Aquarius. It's all about community and moving forward together. And I just want to say thank you so much to you, JC and Janine. I mean, you guys are legendary. Everything you've done for so long. And it's hard to take in, you guys, because we're doing this work online and there's like almost 10,000 people in the live chat and we're seeing all the comments. But I'm so excited for the conference to be in person with everyone because we really like ingest it when we're actually in person with our community. So we just love you all so, so much. And we're right there with you in this fight. And we're going to win, and we are winning.
Thank you for that. I appreciate that. And of course, Jay Widener just announced yesterday. He had told me yes a couple of months ago, but we were keeping him as a surprise. But yes, moving forward, Jay Widener is going to be joining us at the conference in Ottawa, along with Penny Kelly and Andy Scheckman as our keynote speakers. This is going to be the Alchemy, Consciousness, and Finance, a Wu beginning. Somebody said in the chat, JC, you're making it sound like it's the end. No. It's not the end, guys. It is only the beginning. And I'm very, very excited also to meeting all of you in Ottawa. If you guys want to join us for that, go to beyondmystic.net/conference. You'll see the link at the beginning of the page there. All the details. There's still some tickets available, as well as the online passes available for you guys. Janine, any redirect on that also before we get into decoding a few more things here that people are asking us about here today, Janine?
Well, I just want to echo what you guys have been saying. Like, I am so grateful for this community. Like I used to say at the very beginning, and when I was on the Truther tour, got a lot of laughs when I'd say it, but who'd have thought we'd be going to a tarot card reader for the news? It's pretty silly. And so thankful for you, Jean-Claude, for really helping me, all the way, all the steps along, and how we've evolved as a community. Like, I just don't think we could have done this without our community. And they're saying the same thing. So it seems like it's a really good fit. And like you said, we're just at the beginning. Yeah. This is literally the toe in the door. We got to get all the way in the door. We got to get that mainstream media out of the way. We got a lot more work to do. And I'm excited for that. I'm an ox, the year of the ox. Go read about oxes. We're crazy. We love work. Freaking give me some work. Let's do the work.
I love it. Thank you, Janine. We're going to keep the screen on the side here and watch the rest of the festivities for today. I don't think they're doing the march outside. Still, one, they were blaming the cold, but also perhaps lone gunmen still trying to assassinate Trump. And also perhaps this nuclear device that they were looking for in New Jersey. It seemed to be making the rounds here again yesterday. Now, in terms of vindication, I thought what was interesting just last night, Biden signed an executive order removing part of the continuity of government situation that we were on. I did a video earlier today. If you haven't seen it already, it was this one here, Devolution and Continuity of Government. Is it over? I encourage you guys to go check that out. I recorded that just before we went live here for the inauguration special. But in this executive order, there's a partial revocation of Order 13961, which presumably some of the researchers were suggesting that this was in fact what was put in place when Trump was leaving office in January of 2021 to safeguard not just the Constitution, but the administration here from this incoming presidency or pretendency at the time. And it appears that just now, hours before Trump took power here today or during the inauguration, this has now been removed and we are now in the reconstitution phase. Now, that's very important. That's very interesting and also important here because when we talk about vindication, this so far, Trump has not mentioned in the speech today. He didn't mention it yesterday. As I see it, mainstream news is not reporting on it either today, but it is nonetheless very big news. There's something to this. I'm not sure yet what it is. It seems to be a signal of sorts. At the very least, it's a signal. If not a confirmation here moving forward. Your thoughts on that? Have you seen my previous show, Meg? Have you seen these executive orders and the revocation thereof and how that perhaps changes the landscape for us? How does that tie into the astrology and what you were looking at here also in the Trump Pluto Kazemi special episode you did with Janine on Saturday night? Meg?
Yeah, I didn't get to see your show that you did right before this one. I'm going to have to watch that later today to get caught up. But yeah, it totally makes sense. I mean, we're having right now Sun conjunct Pluto at the beginning, critical degrees of Aquarius. We're out of Pluto and Capricorn. We're out of, I think, possibly the corporation of the United States has already been dissolved. We're in completely new territory. We're just, like Janine said, we're just watching things play out. It's like it's not softcore porn. That's not the right term for me to use. It's like a soft landing. Sorry, you guys, I'm like having major brain farts. Soft landing.
Right.
Because if they were to just come out today and go, hey guys, this is what's really been going on the past 5 years, people would literally have heart attacks. They would completely freak out. People would probably try to kill themselves. It would be crazy. So it's like things are slowly being revealed, as Janine says, and it kind of has to happen that way. And we have to watch the whole theatrics of it and still have patience. But I do think that we're entering completely new territory. The US has changed as of today.
Guys, if you haven't seen the Trump Pluto Kazemi episode, please do go check it out. It was the Sunday night episode, and I believe Meg and Janine hit number 4 on the leaderboard on Rumble. Really fascinating stuff there. More details if you're interested in that. I know both Meg now has a personal reading to go to, and Janine also has another show to record here in just a moment. So let me ask, Meg, if you have to go now, please do so. If you can say a few more minutes, please stay on.
Okay.
But Janine, maybe if we can do a last poll on this. They set up this table and chair here on the microphone. This is at the same venue as there was the rally yesterday. Presumably, Trump might be signing those 100 executive orders live here later today. What does that look like? Let's do a poll on these executive orders. What do we need to know about them? Are they, as the mainstream news are reporting, Hitler-esque totalitarianism, going after all of his enemies? Or are they really in line with what Trump just said in his speech now, making America great, healthy, strong, and prosperous again? What can we expect here of this slew of 100 executive orders being signed today, Janine? Somebody says 200 now. So yeah, it's growing by the day. Go ahead, Janine.
Yeah, I really feel like it'll be, he's going to look really good with these, at least with a large part of the population. See that? I feel like he's headed, and he made that pretty clear in what he's saying, towards way more peace, and he's the opposite of
totalitarianism.
Yeah, he's going the opposite way. It was pretty obvious with what he was saying, and if he sticks to any of that, he's going the opposite way of that. So we've got the world in the middle. So it's like he's giving back the United States back to itself. It feels like he's taking it back and making them proud to be American again, making them proud, like the original ideas about, the United States of America, the original vision of it and how they used to promote it. I feel like he's really, a lot of the things he does are going to look like it's going in that direction again.
Mm-hmm.
And there could be a big element of, and even though he didn't say it, so this card says, well, he hasn't said it yet, but there's a big innovation. Like when he said healthy, he might mean there might be things in there we need to pay attention to do with different energy sources, different health modalities that could actually help us get healthy. Maybe cures we don't know about, things hidden from us. We're more advanced, and I feel like that's the part he's going to have to be careful bringing in, but he does look like he's going to move in the direction of, it'll take time, and a lot of people haven't noticed this yet, but he's going to move in the direction of new ways of doing things and innovations. He's going to really herald that in, and he kind of hinted at it yesterday at the big rally. He was saying things about, I think he was bringing it up. I can't remember exactly what part, but I'd have to go back and listen. But it seemed to me he was hinting at, we're going to really move forward with some new ways of doing things, and even mentioning Mars and getting to Mars. Well, they'd have to have. We know that a lot of that gone to the moon and back's it's suspect at this point. Mm-hmm. Did they really even? Okay, so if they're going to Mars, they're going to need some. They're going to need some advanced technology, and I feel like he's going to bring that out. But he's going to take his time doing it.
Wow, Fascinating. There's a couple of comments coming up. Also, I want to bring this up. Janine and I are going to be recording the Beyond the News later this evening. I believe it's at 8 o'clock Eastern. Yes. And we're going to be decoding some of the things that are happening behind the scenes today. It appears that there's a lot of comms, including the number of cannons that were used for the gun salute as compared to the Biden gun salute or funeral. There's a lot of vindication there, apparently, for what's his name? Derek Johnson. So we're going to be decoding that tonight. We're going to be looking at this situation of whether or not Trump actually put his hand on the Bible here at 12:01 for his inauguration. People are saying no, that Vance actually did. And if Trump was already still president, that could make sense. So again, there's a lot of breadcrumbs there to look at. So we're going to be looking at that later on tonight. Janine is recording here momentarily here the Beyond her weekly world news. Coco is back at the production controls, so she'll be recording that. So if you are a member of Tarot by Janine, please do go to tarotbyjanine.com now. In a couple of hours here, you'll see this new episode from Janine. And Meg, of course, is going to be back tomorrow night for the As Above, So Below. Check that out. And Meg, explain to the audience members also very quickly, you've made changes to the way we're broadcasting the Astro Daily shows here in response to some of our viewers trying to make more sense of that and giving them more time to watch the episodes that make sense to them. Explain to them why we're making changes on that level here on Rumble.
Yeah, so we were doing in 2024 the Daily Astro shows every single weekday. And for some of our friends out in Europe, Asia, other parts of the world far away from where we're from in North America, the horoscope was too late in the day to apply to them. So we've changed the Daily Astro show to be on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. So they cover 2 to 3 days each one. So they can apply to everybody, no matter where you are in the world.
Okay, very good. Thank you for that, Meg. And guys, yes, if you're confused with all these new schedule changes, all the new shows that are coming up, also go to beyondmystic.net/schedule, and there you'll see all of the updated shows and special reports that we put forward. So big thank you to all of you here joining us. Tonight's show is on pay-per-view and IAP. Janine and I might revisit that decision and make it public later this afternoon. We'll see what we can do here. It's a little bit late to change that on the schedule, but given the importance of what's happening right now, we might make that public show, of course, with the approval of the Insider Access Pass members and all of their support. So stay tuned for all of that. And yeah, it's going to be a hell of a woo beginning. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Thank you, Meg, for stepping in last week while Coco was on vacation and where I was taking over her job. You took over mine. You did an amazing job. Guys, give a lot of love here to Meg. And of course, thank you, Janine, for being here also on this very historic day. I'm Jean-Claude Beyond Mystic. I love you guys. Have a great day. And we'll see you again later on this evening. Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.